I swear, when I start recording these, I have to set up such a delicate balance. It's unreal. Okay, let's load the game. So that I can see the Xbox, the PS3 is being captured, the Audacity's running, and have my notepad open while the TV is on the other screen. Oh, and then one little thing goes wrong. You gotta reset it all. Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to another video. Oh my god, it's been like 2 weeks. Hopefully it will have only been 1 day for you guys, but it's been like 2 weeks for me since I've done any recording on this at all. Simply because to do the prep for this, I had to complete the entire game. For reasons I will explain, I guess, in a future episode or so. But hey guys, welcome back. Hope life's been treating you well. I've been on a bit of a stint watching Holocaust movies, which have got me a bit depressed, and given me the drive to really get in here today and play some more X-2 with you guys. So, in the last episode, I remember, we went to Besaid. We caught up with Lulu, Waka, Shocker. Those two are now together, and Lulu is going to be having a baby. We did try and find a good sphere there, as we are sphere hunters, and this is what we do. But we didn't really find anything very impressive. We just found this weird footage of some chest on the island. Not that exciting, but it did unlock a new class for us. So, let's have a look at those, just to keep you guys caught up with what classes we have available. I do have some cool plans here. So we've got Gunner, Una started with this, Warrior, Pain started with this, Songstress, we pretty much started the game with this, Black Mage, we got this sphere at the top of the ruins floating above Mount Gagazet, White Mage, which was that kind of crappy sphere that we found in Besaid, but the class itself might be pretty good, Thief, which Riku started with, and lastly this one here, Festivalist, which you see like appears in the middle of the ring. This is international content only, and I haven't really shown you guys anything of it. Anyway, before we head out into Spear and start doing some of the optional things in the game, if you guys don't remember, this is the way the game works, okay? You get this whole list of places you can go to on the airship at any time you like, but if you go to areas that are marked as hotspots, you can guarantee these are going to progress the main story along, and time itself will move forward. So right now the world is in like a current state. If we go to the Mian High Road, certain people will be there, there'll be stuff to talk about, things to do. If we go to the Zanarkand Ruins first though, which is a hotspot, it will like push the main story forward, and then time will move forward. And then if we go to the Mian High Road, people will have moved. So in an attempt to not miss stuff, we're going to visit a few locations before we go to Zanarkand. So that's the plan for today. Should be quite cool. But before we do that, I want to show you guys some of this stuff Shinra has to offer us. Because I totally glossed over this in the first couple of episodes, mainly because we were just talking about so much mechanical crap. It was unbelievable. This was one of the big things that I ended up cutting out of the first episode, the idea of the dossiers down here. Which, by the way, I love that word. I love the way you say it. I originally ran you guys through all of the characters and who they were. But I don't know. I felt like it dragged a bit. So we're going to do that today instead. May look like there's quite a lot, but really it's not so bad. As you can see here, there's actually 2 pages of them. There's a question mark over here, which we'll have a look at in just a second, I guess. But first, let's go through everyone. First, we saw Una. That one was pretty obvious. Let's see Riku and Pain as well, the 2 girls by our side most of the time through this game.
YRP. In position. It's showtime, girls.
So this is Riku. This is an Albed girl. The Albed being a race, I guess, of people, or at least a nation of people who speak a different language, and they are sort of genetically different, I guess, because all of their eyes have like spiral eyes instead of regular pupils. That is a difference between them. But anyway, an Albed girl who was once Yuna's guardian in the previous game. It was Riku who dragged Yuna out of her stable but uneventful existence in Besaid. Now, that moment where Riku dragged Yuna out of her uneventful existence in Besaid, we haven't actually seen yet. That was a part of the Eternal Calm cutscene, which I will edit in eventually. Pain, a real mystery.
What now?
This is one of the Gullwings. She isn't the talkative type, and as the story goes, she only joined the Gullwings for a chance to fly on an airship. May sound a bit superficial. Hopefully there's more to the story than that as we go along, but I can't say I blame her. My god, if there was like a real airship in the world, I would join. No matter what those people were doing, as bad as they could be as people, I would totally go there just for a chance to fly on it, and then have a cabin where you get to sit down, drink at the bar, watch some TV, and then all of a sudden like you're miles away over Africa or something. Amazing. Anyway, so we are the Gullwings, a group of sphere hunters. There are many groups of sphere hunters, including the LeBlanc Syndicate. And we've met 3 of their members, LeBlanc, Ormi, and Logos. They're like an alternate version of us. We have 3 people, they have 3 people. Let's check them out.
LeBlanc! Remember that name well, loves.
So this is a sphere hunter and a leader of the LeBlanc Syndicate. Could she be the sworn foe of the dull Gullwings? She really grew on me as I was doing my test file. Now that I've like completed the whole game and done all kinds of stuff, she really has grown on me. Okay, then there's Ormy.
Show's over!
A sphere hunter and member of the LeBlanc Syndicate. He is fiercely devoted to LeBlanc, whom he calls the boss. And down here we got Logos.
You look a tad flushed. Why not stop to catch your breath?
Played by Alan Rickman, as I mentioned in episode 1. This guy's a sphere hunter and a member of the LeBlanc Syndicate. He would gladly give anything and everything for LeBlanc. So these two are like her cronies, but it seems like very much a one-way relationship. One really cool thing about the international version of this game is you can actually play as these three guys as well. It doesn't necessarily have a big impact on the story. We'll go into it later, but you could, in theory, have these guys as your playable party too. Further, there's another 3 people. Now, they are members of the Gullwings, and they're on the airship, but they're not like the 3 main characters like Yuna, Riku, and Pain. There are also 3 guys on this airship. That would be Brother, Buddy, and Shinra. So let's check out Brother first.
Lusiktidi Gullwings doing goodiduk.
Who says something in our bed. Riku's older brother and leader of the Gullwings, he learned our language out of an intense desire to speak with Yuna, but when overly stimulated, he slips back into our bed, as we heard there. Buddy too.
Still analyzing.
Who is Brother's childhood friend. This is the guy we speak to select locations to visit around the world. And for all intents and purposes, the Gullwings number 2. As down to earth as he may be, from time to time he says things that are really out of this world. This guy is the anchor of the group. He's the most normal person you'll find, I promise you. And Shinra, who's the little kid we spoke to get to this menu in the first place.
Shinra's in Albed. He's a real whiz kid.
And Albed wonderkeened underneath that mask as he pondering his next invention or Spira's future. Really interesting character. The model itself you may recognize from Final Fantasy X. There were a few Albed children that looked just like this guy. Were they exactly this guy? Who knows? But they set up some really weird things with this character and basically make a connection between 2 different Final Fantasy games. They're all different stories, but Final Fantasy 7 and 10, when it came to 10-2, the devs made some real hints that the 2 universes were connected. The idea is that this little kid eventually would become the founder, and then his child, and then his child's child, and his child's child, in like 200 years, they would go to another planet, and they would set up a corporation under his name, and basically become the antagonists of another one of the Final Fantasies. Great idea, and you'll see them hinting about it as we go through in the story. But yeah, just a little kid to us so far. There's some others. I don't want to drag the episode down with that, though. Let's head out into Spira and see what we've got. Now, we've got a bit of a choice, right? Where do we want to go? We can go literally anywhere we like. As I said, the previous game was much more of a linear kind of adventure where you're just on this pilgrimage going A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we get loads of choice, loads of opportunity to miss things. Indeed, I could just go straight to Zanarkand Ruins. We would buzz through the chapter and miss out on classes, awesome gear, big story things, and, you know, things really wouldn't go well for us. So it's like, where do we want to go? Well, we could go Besaid, Kilika, Luca, Mihen, Mushroom, Jose, blah, 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 in the same order we did in the first game. I'm not actually going to do that. I'll tell you straight away, if we go to Luca, we actually get some significant answers about the way that the game started. As I said, I think it was a bit of a weak opening, had like that big thing in the stadium and so forth. If we go to Luca, we will find answers to that. I'm going to hold out on those for you guys, though. I think Luca will be the last place we go before we hit Zanarkand here. So instead, what I actually want to do is take you guys to here, Guadosalam, just as a nice example of places you can go in the world but don't necessarily have masses of things to do just yet. Don't forget, we're right early on in the timeline right now, and we're in Chapter 1 of the game. So it says here for us that there's no missions available, but that Sphere Hunters have moved on to the deserted city of the Guado. I hear LeBlanc's got her own chateau down there. Interesting, so let's head on over. And even though there's no missions here, we can get percent completion, some cutscenes, some other nice things. Yuna should tell us about the history of this place for those of you who need a bit of a topper-upper and what's been happening the last 2 years.
Guadosalam, home of the Guado. You remember, right? But the Guado are no longer here. Some people think they deserved all that happened for what they did to Spira. They have a point, but it seems like such a sad way to look at things.
Interesting. So, you notice the music's a little bit different here in Guadosalam now. There's some goons there, LeBlanc Syndicate goons. And they're headed into Seymour's old mansion. And a Hypello talking to some woman out there. But yeah, Guadosalam's really interesting. As I said, I actually think this game doesn't go into it enough, in my opinion. But the whole idea of the Guado, if you guys don't remember, they were kind of like antagonists in the last game for us. They originally just kept to themselves in this city. They weren't a part of any wider culture. They didn't really interact with other people of the world, not humans of the world. They weren't a part of the global religion, Yevon. They literally just kept to themselves. But shortly before the events of the previous game, these people were sort of brought into the fold, and they were manipulated by the people of Yevon to do their fighting, and they basically brought war upon this world. While they were being led by a man named Seymour Guado. And in this war, they sustained heavy casualties on both sides, and now, 2 years later, everyone hates them. They were manipulated both by Yevon and their leader into a horrible position, and now they have been forced out of their home. How exactly that's happened, the game will explain shortly. But yeah, it's a really interesting idea, and many people do hate them, and it's like, yeah, this is what they deserve, this is their just desserts. But at the same time, I feel kind of bad. I don't know, I feel kind of bad.
The Far Plane, a place that unites the living with their memory of the dead. I've thought about going in so many times, hoping that I might see you there. But I never have. I think I probably never will.
One thing I think that I really took from Let's Playing with you guys 10 quite recently, like one new favourite part of the game for me, like I always play through and I'm like, oh yeah, this is my favourite part. I think that this moment where you come to the Far Plane in the last game is one of my most fond memories of it, where you really get to see people's past and, you know, the loved ones that they've lost. But in this game, you'll find, at least at the start for now, Una doesn't want to go to the Far Plane anymore. It's very different to before, 2 years ago, where she went there, she was happy to see her mother and her father. Now things are different, and she's too scared to go and see if she would find us, Titus. And if we speak to this guy, even if we want to go there, this dude says, sorry, I can't let you in. The Far Plane has grown unstable, and only the Guado know how it might be restored. So the Guado lived here, and they tended to the Far Plane. Now that they're gone, the Far Plane's sort of spiraling a bit out of control here. It says there's been an unusually large number of fireflies. We don't know what might happen, so we decided to bar all entry. One thing that's really, really interesting about this, you might think that this is like hinting at future story for Final Fantasy X-2, like, oh, what's going on the Far Plane? This kind of interesting mystery. Is this going to be the big plot here? Well, it's funny. This is more setting up for Final Fantasy X-3 than X-2. And hold out, I'll explain to you guys why I have that opinion. But yeah, this is more for the potential sequel that doesn't exist yet, if it ever will. Than anything else. That's a bit of going to be a slow burner for me to fully explain that opinion. But yeah, interesting idea. The Far Plane has grown unstable, and with no Guado, what can we do? Aside from that, you can talk to a bunch of people here in Guadosalam. This guy here, for example, says eking out a living as a sphere hunter ain't easy. So lots of sphere hunters are hanging around here in Guadosalam. There's this room over here, which if you try and open, the guy sitting next to the door says there's no getting into this house. And you can even speak to him, and he says, these days Guadosalam is a hangout for sphere hunters. If you think you can open this door, think again. Believe me, I've tried. So there's this mystery door here. Forget it, the lock is too sturdy. We cannot get in there. I'll tell you guys one thing. Before I started recording this video, I completed the entire game, okay? And through that entire playthrough of the game, I could not get into this house. We will be getting into this house on the Let's Play, but it's not easy to get in there. It will take us a long damn time. There's no getting in. Alright, so anyway, we can set up that that's there. This lady here is also interested. She says, don't you think there's something odd about that house? Maybe, why? I mean, you don't just lock something up unless it's worth locking up. Yeah, maybe there's riches in there. So yeah, there's the house. Seymour's mansion as well. We can't really do anything at because we don't really like the LeBlanc Syndicate, and the goons will tell us to shove off. Beat it, will ya? No entry for you. This lady says, the LeBlanc Syndicate's organizational skills are unmatched. Maybe I should look into joining. Maybe you should. I guess they recruit people from somewhere. I can't imagine her in... Oh, wait, is this a dude? Is this a guy? I guess maybe it is a guy. I can't imagine him in one of their outfits at any rate. Down here, you got a couple more sphere hunters, these people. And they say, where did all the Guado disappear to? It doesn't make any sense. Guadosalam is teeming with sphere hunters. That means you'll always find the latest buzz right here. This little kid says, I'm a sphere hunter. Are you sphere hunters too? And then he just repeats it, I'm a sphere hunter. Guadosalam's only a step away from Spear's hottest hotspots. That's why there's so many sphere hunters gathering around here. I don't know whether I really believe that. I mean, what is around here? The Thunder Plains, the Moonflow, they were pretty dead areas 2 years ago, right? Well, many things have changed, and we shall see. Find some great treasure and strike it for rich. That's what we're all hoping for. Kind of an exciting idea. This kid over here will actually tell you something cool about the Thunder Plains. He says that the Thunder Plains are actually safe now thanks to the Owl Bed. No need to worry about lightning anymore. Sure has made it a lot easier to get around Spira. So, yeah, that's a really cool idea. I guess I'll talk more about that when we actually go to the Thunder Plains. Let's check down here as well. This was an inn in the previous game. This was a place where we got a bit of history about Spira. We learned a bit about fireflies and so forth. There's this lady at the counter, though, and she says, "Good day, what is it you need?" And we can say we want a place to rest, or we can say, "Have you got any data?" What does that even mean? Well, she says, "I'm sorry, my lady, I have nothing new at the moment." And that's it. So that's actually going to be a part of a quest game that we get to play here later. Just bear it in mind. I guess I'd show it off to you guys. And that's it, really. You know, this did actually give us progress to getting 100% completion for the game. Coming here, triggering those cutscenes, speaking to the NPCs and stuff was totally optional, but by seeing those cutscenes, we got like 0.1% more complete with the game. And as I've explained before, the ultimate goal of this playthrough, and anyone really playing Final Fantasy X-2, is to get 100% completion. By getting that 100%, you unlock a bonus cutscene at the very end for like the perfect ending, and that's what we'll be doing. So if you want to do that, you've got to go to Guadosalam, you've got to just trigger that cutscene, even though there wasn't any formal fighting or anything to do, which is great. Anyway, every time you come up from a location too, this is pretty cool, Pain and Riku will actually have different dialogue for you. So if we speak to Riku right now, she says, "No one knows where all the Guado went." Nobody knows. And Pain says, "They say LeBlanc jacked some empty house and made it their hideout." Well, yeah, that looks definitely like Seymour's mansion, right? So these guys always have something new to say to you. I cannot express in the guides and trivia and stuff I've read about this game the amount of times those two change their dialogue. Like, you can go to a place in Spira and, like, watch one cutscene and then go back to the airship and they'll have different dialogue, and go back to that place and see the second cutscene, like, instantly later, and then they'll change their dialogue again. They're like, there's tons of it. I won't be showing it all off, but it is really cool. It's a nice reason to talk to them every time you come back up. And, yeah. So anyway, where have the Guado gone? They haven't just disappeared. Next, I'm going to take us to Macalania Woods, which says, again, that there's no missions. And it says, the woods have been changing rapidly since Macalania Temple sank. That can't be good news for the locals. No one really lived in these woods before, but we'll check them out. And even though it says no missions here on the navigation list, you'd be surprised to find there actually is a mission here. There are lots of hidden missions, as well as the ones that they clearly display to you.
It's been 2 years since the faith in Macalania Temple disappeared. They say it's affecting not only the lake, but the woods as well.
So remember, I did explain this in the previous playthrough. These are not normal woods, as you can see. They were powered by the faith, and the faith is gone now. So what's going on? It's so ambient here as well, it's unbelievable.
The woods will soon be no more.
So, do you remember these guys, the musicians? The weird races? Well, we always knew that there was some connection with them here in the forest, but there's a bit of a bigger thing this time. So, we're going to be hunting these guys down. First, let's go have a chat with this person here who as you can see, is a Guado. So the Guado says, "We Guado have made many enemies. Now we have fled Guadosalam, and the once proud Guado have been scattered." So they ran away from Guadosalam to hide here in the forest. Though sin is gone and the calm has come, my people's suffering does not end. Well, maybe you deserve it? Maybe? The few Guado that remain seek refuge deep in these woods. We're going to speak to someone in a second, familiar face. There's another Guado over here. We can't actually talk to, sadly. We're going to see a familiar face who says something rather poetic. Maybe a bit overused, but quite poetic nonetheless. Here's two guards. These guys look a lot like warrior monks, don't they? Should the warrior monks still be in action around Spira since the fall of Yevon? But what do they say? They say, "My job is to stand here all day waiting for something to never happen. Exciting, isn't it?" Sure. This road leads to Bevel. We'd be honoured by a visit from the High Summoner. I love the fact that because these guys like have military jobs or whatever, where they get nice costumes and they get to have a bit of prestige, even though the actual physical act of their job is the most mundane, boring, stupid thing you could possibly conceive of, they still get respect for doing it. Well, you know, other people who accomplish a lot more, you know, are just seen as paper pushers or whatever. I don't know. I like it because that's definitely a real world thing. It's like the guys in England that stand out around Buckingham Palace. Here's a guy who says, "Have you spoken with Lord Trommel? He is at the spring, deep in the woods." Ah, Trommel. So, yes, the right-hand man of Seymour in the previous game. Big antagonist for a while. But ultimately, I came to feel very sorry for the dude because he was just deceived, as many people were. And he came to regret everything that had gone down. How I wish I could see Guadosalam once more before departing this world, he says. I've resigned myself to these woods, but nothing can replace Guadosalam. Now just think about the people who are in Guadosalam now, like defiling that place. Who knows how long this race lived there? Totally happy in privacy. And then Yevon came along. So yeah, there's a lot of Guado in the woods. They do something really cool here, actually. Even though the physical map of Macalania Woods hasn't changed very much, if you have a look in the background behind these trees here, look over there, look, you can actually see Guado wandering around. And we can never go there as a player, but check it out. It's pretty cool, and you'll spot that a lot in the distance in this forest. Like over there as well. Ah, but look, here's another one of the musician dudes. Hey.
The end has come faster than I thought. What can we do? I'll be there in 2 shakes.
So there's certainly something very weird about these people. They're magical, they're in tune with the forest somehow. He had an accent I never gave him in the previous game. But yeah, you want to find him, communicate with him, get him to move to and do whatever he wants to do. And yeah, this lake, this was obviously where we had our first kiss, love's true kiss. First love's true kiss, true love's first kiss, that's the one. While Kamari was watching, good times. To the right would be the Calmlands, we're not going to bother with that. We're going to head over. Now, you might be tempted, since this is your first time in the forest, to like do the long walk through the forest as we did in the previous game, getting random encounters and stuff as we go. I'm actually not going to encourage us to do that. However, we're going to go up across this like weird celestial path that we saw one of the bird guys at. Now, this is the same as before. You'd kind of expect maybe that since the faith is gone and the woods are dying, that this wouldn't be here anymore, but it is, and I appreciate the devs for leaving it with us. The funny thing about it is, though, this whole route is meant to skip you through the maps below, right, so you don't have to do the walks. Well, because we can jump in this game, there's a surprising amount of speed you can get going through those maps, and I'll demonstrate that to you guys in a second. Up there where we were charging our final weapons in the previous game, we pick up a turbo ether. And yeah, so I find it funny that they add all these places you can skip and jump through the maps, and then also leave the celestial pathway up here. Definitely considering I can't actually remember any missions in the game that take place along this, but we shall see. Anyway, so by walking along here, as you might expect, we'll get to the very far side of the forest. And, you know, if you really think about it, we're in quite a remote area of Spira now. Like, very remote. What is even around here? We know there's a travel agency and there used to be a temple, but no more faith. Like, why would anyone come to this dead end? Anyway, down here on the right, we'll find another spring. If you remember, this was where we found that sphere as Titus that our father had left us. Well, if there was a sphere here once before, maybe there's a sphere here now? Would hold up, right? And there's another Guado who says, we came here from Guadosalam. Okay. But will we ever go back? Seems like they all want to go home. Sure, no worries. And so round here, we'll find the big spring. Again, more Guado off in the distance. I don't know whether you guys spotted that one. And you will see here is Trommel. This guy is very easily missed.
Oh, High Summoner Yuna, forgive me for the grief I have caused you.
How have you been?
Well, with Lord Seymour gone, we Guado are hardly different from the dead.
Yeah, pretty sad, right? Do you remember in the last game, after Seymour was gone, there were some blitzballers who were saying, oh yeah, maybe we should have blitzballers in charge. It ended up as Trommel in charge, and they ended up all getting kicked out of their home somehow. We'll find out why in just a second. But yeah, this is very easy to miss. You don't have to come to this place at all for the events of the story. When I completed the game before recording for you guys, I never came to Macalania Woods once. You can play all the way through the required stuff of Final Fantasy X-2 and never visit this place at all. Further, when you come here, you won't necessarily find Trommel, who will move on, and he won't be here after enough time passes, so this is completely missable. And once you come to him, you can speak to him just the once and then leave. The trick is you've got to talk to him many times, okay?
Many Ronso lost their lives at the hands of Lord Seymour. Those who survived swore vengeance for their fallen comrades. We Guado sealed ourselves away in Guadosalam and strengthened our defenses. But soon we no longer had the strength for even this. Now we live among the shadows of these woods.
Trommel.
I think Yuna's response is a little bit lacking each time there. You'll notice now Riku and Pain are available to talk to. Riku says, sounds like a sticky situation. Does it sound like a toughie, Riku? Maybe? Pain here says, well, it's none of our business. We'll go speak to Trommel again.
High Summoner, do not trouble yourself to show sympathy for the Guado. We once walked willingly with Lord Seymour, never questioning, even as he led all Spira into madness. Lady Yuna, I cannot ask that you forgive us, only that you forget us.
Trommel.
There you go, that's the line. I do not ask that you forgive us, just that you forget us. It's got some tragedy there. Now, as I say, it's a bit cliche. People come out with that line all the time, right? We do not forgive, we do not forget, blah, 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 blah. That's a slight twist on it, I guess. But yeah, you know, I like it. So if we talk to him one final time.
Ah, well, what brings the High Summoner to these woods?
Well, I'm a sphere hunter now.
A sphere hunter?
We, hunt spheres.
You don't say. Well then, please allow me to give you this. It is of no use to us.
Score.
Ah, so we do get a sphere. A message pops up saying you found Pain's special dress sphere, Full Throttle. Okay. And it says special dress spheres. After changing to all the dress spheres on a character's active Garmin Grid, call up the Garmin Grid with L1, then press R1 to activate the special dress sphere. What does any of that mean? Who knows? We also get a new dress sphere here called the Unerring Path Garmin Grid. And Trommel will walk away. What we basically just got there, guys, was an overdrive, basically, okay? In loose terms, you had overdrives in the previous game where you fought enough, you got lots of adrenaline, basically you could spend it in some big showy move. Well, this is kind of like 10-2's version of that. I will explain it shortly. But first, let's just have a look at the Garmin Grids, okay, and see what we've collected so far. Well, we got First Steps, which we started the game with. Had a couple of dress spheres slotted on it, as you can see there. The next one was Vanguard. We got this for talking to Shinra and doing the Garmin Grid tutorial on the airship. Now, what's cool about this is First Steps gives us no passive bonuses from using it all, but if we actually all decide to use the Vanguard Garmin Grid instead, by equipping it, you'll see on the bottom right, it actually says we get +5 strength and +5 magic power, so basically it just makes us a bit stronger. You'll see also below that, it then says strength +5, magic +5, strength +5, magic +5. What does that mean? Well, I'll explain now. So, if we go into Vanguard here, we can put some dress spheres on it, right? So let's put, you know, Gunner in the middle, I guess, right? We'll put Warrior over here on the left. We'll put Songstress over here on the right. We'll put Black Mage on the top and White Mage on the bottom, okay? So, in fact, let's put Thief where Songstress is. So, this is what our Garmin Grid would look like. And let's say we are playing as Riku as a Thief, okay? Now, as a Thief, Riku, in the middle of a battle, could only swap to Gunner, which is connected to it, Black Mage, which is connected above it, or White Mage, which is connected below it. Riku couldn't swap directly to Warrior because it's too far away. She'd have to go to Gunner and then to Warrior, yeah? But something extra happens when she swaps from, let's say, Thief to Black Mage. Can you see how she goes through that red icon? That red icon is known as a gate, okay? And by passing through that gate, she gains a bonus effect. So on the bottom right, you can see a key that tells you what effect you get. She would get +5 magic power. So that's pretty cool. She would start as a Thief, swap to a Black Mage, which is a casting class, and just because of the way we set up the Garmin Grid, she would become an even more powerful spellcaster just because she went through that gate on her way there. So that can affect the way you try and set up your dress spheres, see? Pain could start, say, as a Black Mage and then swap to a Warrior. She would go through the yellow gate instead and gain +5 strength. Or, if you really wanted in a battle, you could have the girls travel through all the gates at once, for a total of +10 strength, +10 magic, and a further +5 passively, right? So that's a little bit more of an example of the depth that's here in the dress sphere system. The next grid we got was this one here called Protection Halo, which is pretty much the same as Vanguard. Different shape, as you can see, slightly. Mechanically, it's the exact same thing. But down on the bottom right, you'll see it's the defensive version. So it's defense and magic defense instead of strength and just magic attack. We also got this new one here just a second ago called Unerring Path, which only has 2 slots, no gates, no passive. Why would we ever want to use this? You get no variety? Well, what's the deal? Well, that's to do with the special dress spheres. We'll talk about that more later, and why that's useful. Maybe you can already sort of figure it out based on the description the game gave us. But we'll proceed forward. This Guado here has appeared. I never saw him before. He says, "These words are our only sanctuary that remains for those doomed to destruction. The proud Guado have fallen. We can never reclaim our honor." Why is it always in fantasy works that it's the proud races that are destroyed? They always have some flaw, right? Anyway, so yeah, that's the main Macalania stuff to do, but I told you guys as well that there's actually a mission to do here. Well, what possibly could we do? I mean, there's the Guado hiding here. It's a dying forest. Well, let's go check out the travel agency. I mean, who in their right mind would be at the travel agency? Who would even get customers out here, right? Seems a bit stupid, but we'll check it out. So check it out. Apparently, there's some Al Bhed here. Hey guys, what's cooking? And they're brandishing weapons.
Franekra.
Hoaka, Kadwidrana.
Oh my god, did they just say Owaka?
Lusawid, na Kektela Ekvidama.
I can't understand you yet. I don't have enough primers. Speaking of primers, we're getting you on. Speaking of Owaka! Oh my god.
To Owaka a favour and pretend you never saw him.
Whoa, 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 what are you doing here? He runs off. Now, if you don't speak to him quickly there, you actually don't get any dialogue at all. Yeah, he just ran off. Hey, Al Bhed people, what's going on? They're just talking to us in Al Bhed. I don't understand Al Bhed. Faina nabustanek dresklub. And this person says, interesting. Well, we can't actually go into the agency. First random encounter of the day. Excellent stuff. There you heard some dialogue play at the beginning that actually, you're not going to believe this, but I'm pretty sure that was Japanese. There's something about this port, because this is the international version. When they ported it with HD, yes, they translated an awful lot of stuff that had never been in English before, but some of the new, like, international, like, battle dialogue, only very, very little of it, so it doesn't happen often, is actually still in Japanese, would you believe it? Here you'll notice we're doing absolutely terrible damage to the elementals, and I'm a little bit concerned that we're not going to kill them in any time soon. Una there has a ring on that lets her cast Thunder, but that's actually not an element that's useful to us. Pain at least can use Flame Tongue on these, on the white elemental for double damage. And hopefully that means she'll be able to kill him. We still have battle speeds on slow, as you can see. This is really sort of getting to me at the moment. I've just come from blasting my way through the game, where battles were moving much quicker, so I think very shortly we'll change things. One interesting thing we could do here is we could steal with Riku from the white elemental. Damn it, it's dead now. But we could have stolen from the white elemental and got like an elemental damaging item to throw at the fire elementals, because that would have been their weakness. But it didn't work. Instead, we only stole a potion anyway. What element does Riku have? Yeah, fire, damn it. So I guess she should have been doing that instead. You notice these guys keep attacking us relentlessly. We will have a lot more things we can use to deal with people. We also currently only have the 3 like default dress spheres on right now: Gunner, Thief, and Warrior. In a couple of episodes, I'm going to swap us over to a save file where you get to see what these dress spheres are like when they're like all finished off, all super powerful. And once we're done with that, oh my god, please, is this thing dead yet? Pain has only got 2 health. This is really bad. There we go. Let's see if she can heal up. She might actually be dead. Alright, no, that's not too bad. Okay, good. Yeah, I'll swap to a save file where you guys get to see what they're like all super powered up. And then we'll start looking at some of the other classes in the game too, which is something I'm really excited about. Because by the nature of the way the prep of this series worked, I wanted to show me getting new skills as we play through. So I literally played the entire game with just these 3 classes. No extra characters, no extra fiends. There's like 170 different people you can get in your party, right? I didn't do any of it. No variety at all. Just these 3. So I'm so pumped to play some of the other classes. But for you guys, it's probably all new. I'm just spamming attacks, to be fair. I'm not really making it very interesting. I mean, we could power break or do any of the elemental attacks with the warrior right now. Not too amazing. Oh, there you go. She just learned armor break, though. That will, if people aren't aware, deal damage and lower the defense of an enemy, which means we can get through the fights a bit quicker. That was kind of scary how difficult that was, though. Let me just check if we actually have some decent accessories equipped. What we could do, first of all, is equip this Garmin Grid Vanguard on people. So what we do is we go to equip, And then where it says Garmin Grid, instead of first steps, we equip Vanguard. Now you notice Protection, Halo, and Unerring Path, although we own them, are grayed out right now. That's because I haven't actually slotted any dress spheres into them, you see. We did that just a second ago on Vanguard, though. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll put Una onto Gunner. I doubt I'll use the gates too much just yet, but we'll see. Vanguard again down here. And Thief. And finally, Vanguard and Warrior. So basically we have all of our classes here and the option whenever we like to swap to something else. Notice we got an awful lot of accessories here. Guard against darkness, raise strength and defense by 5. That's useful for a warrior, right? So we'll equip that on Pain. What else have we got? Yellow ring. I'm not really sure I'm too interested in that. So we bought this watery gleam in Besaid. This adds water element to our attacks. Not too useful. The fairy earrings with guard against confusion and berserk. That's pretty cool. But otherwise, actually, looking through the list, we don't really have anything amazing just yet, so I'll leave it like that. There is a chest over here. I think this has just got another white ring in it. Oh, no, a high potion. There's definitely a white ring we get somewhere here, though. A high potion heals you for 1,000 health. Some of this stuff I won't be explaining just because I'm assuming you guys know already. We got ambushed this time, so this means all of our bars started at 0. This helmet, this sallet, sorry, would probably be best getting armor broken. And then you'd be surprised how quickly we can kill it, especially since Yuna's shooting it from behind right now. So here you'll notice Pain is going to armor break it, but she's just got to wait a little while before she can charge her attack up. And Riku killed it already. Well, that was a massive waste, wasn't it? Okay, brilliant. Black magic, thunder. Thunder isn't useful. God damn it, Yuna. Fine, we'll go attack this one. These, again, can also be used at armor breaking, so we'll go with that. And we'll start casting fire on this white elemental. So if you watch Riku this time, because she's about to use fire magic on an ice enemy, it'll probably die a fair bit quicker because she's going to do double damage to it. Much better than the, the pathetic 2 little hits she'd otherwise do. In the meantime, the fire one's just been armor broken by Pain, so it will start taking much bigger damage from regular attacks. That one there did 38, as you can see. There you go, the red elemental goes down in just one more attack or so. And that guy's out as well, because Riku's a beast. Now, if I were to put Riku, say, onto a black mage, that would change her abilities, but it would also change her stats. It would make her more powerful at actually dealing magic damage, right? A thief is a very lucky, quick class, not necessarily a spellcaster. Anyway, 3 sallets. I guess I'll skip this battle and see you guys in a second. And here you'll see what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the battle speed up to fast here. I may regret this later when there's a lot to decide on bosses and stuff, but I can always pause the game. But yeah, so fast, you guys will get to see a bit how much quicker the battles go now. Now, we're going to move faster, but enemies are also going to move faster, right? So this isn't the same as increasing our agility.
Awaka the 23rd, where are you?
Well, apparently he's running enough. So, here we go. This is the mission begins. Follow that Awaka. Awaka is on the run from debt collectors. Go hunt him down, but stay on your toes. He's faster than the average bear. Okay. We're going to run along. So, now we're going to go into the regular forest. I think my guide, my physical guide, the guides I find on the internet don't say to do this, but my physical guide says you can skip this whole thing and literally just go along the Celestial Bridge again, and you'll be totally fine. I'm going to walk this way anyway, just to show it off to you guys. At least once in the series. Oh my god, and check it out. So, random encounter here. With, it's called like an Aformus gel, I think. But this was a boss in the previous game, and here it is. This is the Spheramorph's new version. And I'm just going to escape from it, because it's devastatingly powerful, and it's a bitch, and I'm not going to fight it. They can appear as random encounters. So that was me fleeing from a battle you guys just got to see there. I realise I haven't actually explained that to you just yet. You see where we're stood right now, though? And there's a floor behind us. Remember I said we can jump now? I think in theory we could just hold circle and hop down there if we wanted. And as you can see, you can get through the areas much quicker. But we're chasing Awaka. Ah, and there he is. Off he runs. So yeah, you can get some really dangerous random encounters here. And that's going to happen a lot in the game. But fleeing is a lot easier. So here's a great example, okay? These enemies here, these Ziphactinithius things, are actually really, really dangerous, painful enemies to kill. So we're going to finish off this gold elemental as quickly as possible. We're going to start with an armor break over there. And we're just going to try and kill it very fast, because these fish are dangerous as hell. And you might choose, if you wanted to, therefore, to just flee. Now, flee is an ability that thieves learn, you know, like the one we got in the previous game, where you just select it as a special command and then everyone runs away. Or you can press right in escape. I explained already on the series that if you do escape, you miss out on an ability at the very end of the game, but I'm not too concerned about that. Largely, in this game, instead of fleeing be the best thing to do, really the best thing to do is just escape as much as you can, because if you escape on just one girl, there's no chance it will ever fail. It means that if the other two people die, you don't get game over, you just go back to the field instead of being in a battle. And it has no, like, cast time on it or anything, right? So it's just much better. Flee that the thief can cast. Yes, it will make everyone run away at once, but it's also got a cast time, and it is reliant on that girl getting a turn. So, I don't know. I feel like it's just better to use escape. I actually personally have not used flee once this entire time me playing through this game, but we'll see. As you see, this guy does a hell of a lot of damage. Pain's going to die again in a second, but this is also a great example of an enemy that if you keep attacking him, he actually can't get attacks in. You might want to rewind that if you want to, but you'll notice he was actually trying to swim at Pain for ages there, and he couldn't get his attack because I kept unrelentingly making him flinch back. So there are some enemies in this game that if you can keep attacking, then they can never get a turn in. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about building high chains for more damage. I just mean consistently hitting enemies. They flinch, they flinch, they flinch, they can never get a hit in. And that's a really good way of dealing with those enemies. Overall, I find them kind of stupid. I gotta be honest, it's like they just slapped friggin' fish into the game. Like, these are underwater enemies, but because there's no swimming in X2, they just throw these fiends out into the field because, hey, they're enemies we can use. It's kind of weird, but maybe they're just flying now, who knows. Anyway, here's another musician, check it out.
Oh me, oh my, what did you say?
See, I think I got her voice bang on before, guys.
Don't move an inch. I'm on my way.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
See? It's indistinguishable. But yes, they rhyme. She actually comes out with a really sad line in a second. Here we go.
These woods grow lonely day by day.
Day by day. And off she goes too. So what is that? 3 out of 3 musicians, I think? Did we find the bird dude yet? I think we'll find him in a second. But yeah, you want to come and speak to her at the very least. Get that out of the way with. And continue trying to hunt down a Waka. But yeah, I guess I never really clarified this. There isn't swimming in the game anymore. Hey, Waka! He waves at us and just runs off. If you're quick, you can actually see him moving here. I was a little bit too slow before he inevitably disappears off in the distance. But there's no swimming in X2. There is Blitzball in the game, so they have swimming animations for Yuna, Riku, and Pain. But there's just all those swimming areas, it's alternate routes now, like you're climbing around instead of swimming. And I guess they literally did just see this then when they were developing the game as, oh, look at all of these enemies we've got that previously were only found underwater. Do we want to let that all go to waste? And the answer, of course, is no, they didn't. So you get the pleasure of fighting them in random places like this. Anyway, we're going to make all the girls escape here, because I can't be bothered to do another fight like that. And largely when I cut battles, if I'm not actually doing them, that's probably what I'll be doing. So don't worry, no love loss. You don't have to worry about me doing cuts and removing battles from the series. You're not missing out on anything amazing. Once again, I found myself a little bit confused about the geography of Macalania, but we're okay. We'll just move around on the right. This is the white ring, fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. I knew the game. Now you might think, white ring, that must mean Cure. It's not Cure. It's Blizzard. So here we were ambushed, and this is going to be a bit of an interesting fight. We have a haze here. Who was it that could cast ice? Oh, it wasn't anyone, was it? It was Pain that could cast Ice Brand, so there we go. Now, these hazes will actually be returning to very soon. I think they only appear here in Macalania Woods during Chapter 1, so the enemies will disappear. But they do have the ability Mighty Guard, which is really powerful, if you remember from the previous game. Very defensive, powerful magic. And we actually, that's incredibly important for us and for getting through the game very easily. So just remember that they're here. You'll notice that he's taking a lot of damage from attacks. And I'll get back to it when we return to Macalania later. But these are the guys you're going to be looking for, these hazes. Particularly when we got access to a new class, it will be important. Jeez, goddamn, I keep getting the same encounter with the exact same 2 enemies. Just cutting them out, you're not missing anything. Here we go, we're back near the start of the forest though here. Hope you guys are doing good today, by the way. Man, it's good to be able to... Oh my god, another friggin' battle right on the edge of where we can get encounters. It's good to be able to just start recording and playing something again every day. It's just a shame that the prep of these takes so long. I've kind of regretted that it took me, like... I didn't want any breaks on the channel, and then it took me, like, 2 weeks of, like, no uploads before I could be ready with it, but I guess it's all just a learning experience. Alright, we'll give the game a quick save here. And now where do we go? I mean, we looked everywhere. Did Waka go up on the Celestial Bridge thing? Well, no, he didn't. We're going to come over here. And there you'll see he sprints off. You can even see him running over there. This guy doesn't seem to have any different dialogue. You've made many enemies, and for good reason, yes, absolutely. And we'll find a Waka actually hanging out in a place where we made camp in the previous game, which is quite nice, because I like the idea that he was making camp there too. You can come up and talk to this Guado. He actually hides quite well. I mean, he is hiding from our bed for some reason right now. But look, if you talk to this lady here, she says, my, I certainly have a lot of visitors today, don't I? Oh, really? Not just us, someone else. She says, oh dear, I don't think I was supposed to say that. Really? I was supposed to say, don't walk over there. We get this new camera angle here, and suggesting that we should walk over there. Pain says, he must think we can't see him. Oh, is a Waka in here? And Riku says, I smell a fugitive. I smell a toughie. And over here...
It looks like you finally caught up with me. A Waka at your service.
Ah, hello. So the history with this guy in the previous game was that he wanted to be a merchant. He was a complete douchebag for ages. We gave him lots of money to help him start up his business. And in the end, he was defending us from, you know, even the government itself. It was pretty awesome. But at the very end of the game, he was in business with his brother, and he said his brother was going to continue working while he was done. You know, he was basically retiring. But here we find him running from debt collectors, seemingly still in the business. Riku says, Uni, remember when we camped here 2 years ago? Ah, I do. Pain says, where do you meet these people? Yes, oh god. It's like when you introduce some of your friends to some of your other friends. Okay, hey dude, what's going on?
I bought the travel agency from Mr. Rin, but then the temple nearby sank to the bottom of the lake. And business sank with it. Just my luck. Now the outbid have come to collect and are not in the mood for excuses. Think ye could give old Waka a place to lay low? For a while? I'll find a way to make it up to ye, I promise.
What do you think? Sounds like he's in trouble.
Ah, so, yeah, what's really cool about this whole thing is the last place we saw Waka's brother was here in the forest, so it would kind of make sense that the two had their eye on the travel agency anyway. Rin, being very sly, realized the business was going to go out and sold it off to Waka, made a bad investment, so the dude is heavily in debt now. You get a choice, quick call the outbid, which is like a big thing. If you do this, it will branch the game in a significant way. And basically the outbid will take him away and put him to work somewhere, which I'll talk about later when we go there. Or you can actually hide him on the airship. If you want 100% for the game, you want to help him out, always help out your old friends, send him up on the airship, and you can help him actually pay off his debt. So that's what we're going to do here.
Thank you.
And I'll talk more about that other option when we come to it. There you go, mission complete. We score the Ice Queen Garment Grid, which I'd love to show you guys. Everybody leaves. This person goes back to their regular dialogue. What will become of us, the Guado? And yeah, if we check out this Garment Grid here, the Ice Queen Grid, by equipping it, you get the passive Ice Eater effect, which means if someone casts Ice Element on you, you absorb that as health instead. Now, this actually is some high-level magic auto-ability stuff we didn't see for a long time in the previous game, and now you get it kind of early here, if you pick this grid. It's also got 3 gates, okay? Now, if you go through one gate, the yellow gate, you will get Ice Strike. So now, you're absorbing Ice Element, and as you attack, you just automatically have that on your weapon. Pretty cool, right? Also, by equipping this thing, you get passively the ability to use Blizzard, almost like we equip a white ring, right? But you don't actually have to equip the ring. And then it's also got a green and a red gate. What this is saying to us is if we go through the red or the green gate, it will upgrade our Blizzard attack into the tier 2 version of the attack, Blizzara. And then if we go through all 3 gates, then we can use the max damage version, Blizzarga, right here at the start of the game at just level 7 without even being black mages. If we equip this Garment Grid and then swap through those 3 gates, make 3 class changes in one battle, we get this really, really high level elemental magic. Pretty cool, right? Maybe I'll show that off at some point. But yeah, just through that, like, you can just see there's an overwhelming possibility of things Garmin Grids can offer you. Very exciting. Anyway, we're going to head out over here. There is an extra screen, actually. I think it's very easy to miss. I don't think there's ever anything to do here in Final Fantasy X-2, this kind of cool place. Oh, man, there's not here anymore. There used to be a save sphere here. That's why I was coming here. To the north, of course, is the Calmlands. But yeah, so I'm going to head back onto the airship now. And we'll have a chat with Riku. We'll have a chat with Pain. We'll check out Owaka on the airship. Maybe look at his dossier. And probably call the episode there. I'm currently listening to the Shawshank Redemption OST. I haven't even watched the movie recently, but I've just been listening to it on repeat for ages and ages and ages. It's unbelievable. I love that thing so much. I find I can do this weird thing where you guys can tell me if you do this as well, right? You listen to a track from like an OST, and just through the emotion of the music, you can like imagine or play out like a scene. So like I'm still doing this like world building thing where like I'm imagining this like big story, not like a novel almost, right? And I can imagine using like this sound for a scene, and I can picture out just without even thinking of any characters or anything beforehand, just the way things would play out. I don't know, maybe I'm not explaining that very well. Anyway, so check it out. First we'll go chat with well, these guys, I guess. Riku says, Owaka, he's in the cabin. Let's help him out by buying something. Pain says, great, I've always wanted to harbor a fugitive. And Shinra over here, who knows everything apparently, does now know about Owaka. So because we've seen the dude, you'll notice over on the second page, oh, Trumbull's here too, so we'll check him out.
With Lord Seymour gone, we Guado are hardly different from the dead.
In my mind, this is always going to be the dude with the weird hands. But he says, his description is, the attendant who once served 2 generations of Guado leaders, Jiskel and Seymour. With the arrival of the calm, he forsook Guadosalam and sought refuge in Macalania woods. Weren't we supposed to have gotten the full story there? So basically, they were hunted down, okay? They were hunted by the Runso. And over here, we've got Owaka.
Do Owaka a favour and pretend you never saw him.
Okay, more properly known as Owaka the 23rd. After a brief retirement from the peddling business, he returned to work with the coming of the calm. See, they never actually mention in open dialogue that he retired, but we know he did, and they don't hide from that. It is there in the dossier. I'll give you guys a nice little sneak peek here as well. Question mark, question mark, question mark?
It does look like him, though something seems a little off.
What is all this? The young man shown in the sphere Kimari found on Mount Gagazet. The resemblance is truly striking, but can it really be him? So, one truly fantastic thing about the airship in this game, in my opinion, is the fact that nothing about it is really that static. So much can change based on what you do. Like, here's the first main change, okay? Owaka's actually on board, check him out, he's stood here. You know, he'll hang out. He's actually selling stuff here too, so you'll notice he's got a bunch of wares that I think right now are very slightly cheaper than what Barkeeper's selling stuff for. But as we were to buy things from him, let's say we buy, you know, 2 potions, right? We gave him 98 gil there, and by doing this, that actually cuts down on his debt. So you see, he did have 100,000 gil debt up there in the top right. We just gave him 98, so we cut into that a tiny bit. It's going to be our job to try and get through that debt fairly quickly before things spiral out of control and the Albed find out where he is, right? So you're against the clock a little bit there. But yeah, so we actually now have 2 shops we can go to. We've got Barkeep over here, of course. And, you know, so much can change in this place. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. I'll give you guys a bit of a spoiler. You can get a freaking chocobo up here later. It's so good. It's amazing. And, you know, it's like all these beds actually get to be used and so forth. Really cool stuff. I never showed you guys as well. You can hop down like so. And it changes the camera angle. Pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, there you go, guys. That's today's episode. Tomorrow we'll do, like, bang, 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 a bunch of the smaller areas, a lot more like Guadosalam. Catch up on the state of Spira. Meet some old friendly faces. Hope you guys are enjoying. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Catch you next time, everyone.